So welcome back, guys. I'm actually super excited for this YouTube video because not only am I installing some wheel lights, rock lights, and turning my 6.7 into an absolute spaceship, but I built my own magnetized rock light kit because I have seen so many people selling them online for an outrageous amount. Like, if we're already purchasing rock lights, spending a few $100s on them, and then you expect us to pay, it's almost like $100, I think it is about $100 for a set of magnets for my rock lights. It's just like, dude, like it was just insane. So I was trying to figure out the best way to build them for cheap, and if everything works out, I'm actually going to make these available to you guys for as cheap as freaking possible, because I'm tired of people just running up the prices on everything because they know no one else knows how to make these. I'm the only one. So I just spend research doing this. So anyways, on top of all that, we have some bad news. So I was supposed to have my inner fender liners come in 2 days ago. Well, guess what? They never came in. So instead of waiting another freaking week, I'm like, nah, screw this. I'm going to put these things on. I'm going to take them off my 2006 F250. Now, I didn't want to do that because obviously I have this emblem on it. It already has 3 holes drilled out for the rock lights that are currently on this truck. I'm going to have to remove it and mess with all the wiring and everything. So anyways, I know you guys are probably wondering, like, why is he going to throw those fender liners from an 06 on a 16? They're not going to fit, you would think, but this is a 2011 to 16 F250 bed on my 06, as well as a bumper, tailgate, mirrors, yada yada yada. So those fender liners will mount this 11 to 16 bed. So we're going to get around to that, run over to my dad's shop because it's been misting the past 4 days out here and it's cold, my fingertips are freezing, and go to install that. Also, some of the stuff we're going to be using is some of this shrink wrap to kind of cover up these little seal wire connectors. I'm going to show you how we're going to be using them. So this is going to be like the little crimp tool. I'm going to have that in the description. And this is a freaking lifesaver. This is some wire strippers. This is one of the coolest tools I've had. I've had that one for like 2 years and it's a cheap Amazon one. But I'll have all of this linked in the description. And so you guys can find all of this stuff on my Amazon storefront. Not only do I have everything broken up into categories on there, but I have the stuff that I put on my 6.0, stuff I put on my 6.7, the wiring, my camera setup, drone setup, everything and everything. I also have a content creator kit for those of you that are wanting to pursue a YouTube, TikTok, Instagram career. And it's called the Content Creator Package, and everything that I use in there that I've been satisfied with over the years. If I put it in there, I like it, it's good quality. If it's not in there, don't ask me for it because it's probably junk. So we're officially at my daddy's shop. So I can't afford my own. Now that we're here, I started doing some digging and everything into the wiring. And I don't know what is going on here. These are just hanging. Wait, they're not even attached to anything. Hold on. What are they attached to? What is this? This is not staged. I'm being 100% serious. I'm being dead serious. I thought this went to the engine bay and it was just wrapped. I swear, I don't know, I just noticed that. Anyway, so it's just, the wiring is a little rough. Like, I understand on an older truck, which even then it's not really an excuse, but it's just like, oh yeah, it's an older truck, you know, it works, I'm satisfied with it, that's good enough. But when you got a nicer, newer truck, why don't you put time into it? And dude, this isn't even the worst part. We're gonna crawl underneath the engine bay and I'm gonna show you the rat's nest. Now, this is nothing against the previous owner. I think he said someone else had installed the rock lights or whatever, so I'm a little bit picky about it, although mine is not perfect on the 6.0. It's a little better than this. You gotta try and make sure you do it right the first time. You'll end up going back in a year because your rock lights aren't working and you're gonna be chasing a wiring issue, and it turns out it was just where you electric taped 2 wires together and twisted them and they're just not making contact anymore. So usually it's something as simple as that. So I'm going to show you what the rat's nest underneath looks like and how we're going to fix that. So I forgot to get a before and after of the lights versus the one we're going to install, but this is pretty similar to what it is during the day. I mean, you got your typical shadows running through here, the axle shadows. There's no light in here. It's kind of hard to tell in the video, but obviously it's a lot darker in here as a shadow. So you got a majority of the light on the outside, kind of like a square, and then on the center, just a bunch of dark spots. So it's very comparable to obviously the setup we're going to run because we're running a 12 piece. Currently, the only ones that are working on this is a 12 piece. So we're gonna do a 12 versus 12 CZMODS versus some Firewire rock lights that I'm probably just gonna end up selling on Marketplace. I don't know what I'm gonna get them for, but I'm trying to keep everything intact. I'm probably gonna lose my patience and just start snipping wires and ripping everything out because I'm trying to keep it all intact. I'm cutting the little zip ties and everything, but it's not working out so well. So when we get down here, this is the wiring job that I have on there. And for reference, this is my hand. So it's about 2 hand lengths and a half or so of just straight wiring mess. And just everywhere that this thing goes, it's just zip tied to everything. There's a bunch of hanging wires. I'm gonna give this probably another like 15 more minutes and probably just start lobbing off wires. So check this out. I'm over here looking at the wiring, and this thing's not even installed. It's got the factory little tie on it, and this is just tucked inside of this hole up here. So what is the point of running self-tappers and everything into your truck if you're not even gonna plug them in? So currently I'm you know, just relaxing over here, just trying to figure out, you know, what goes where. Not too bad, you know, moving some wires around, and yeah, so this is a freaking mess, but we finally got the 78,000 zip ties cut off this. As you guys seen, this was all just wrapped up in a massive ball inside the frame rail. I guess the good thing from all this is I'm gonna have a 6-pack from doing this the entire time, so I can already feel the burn there, and we're gonna have a cleaner truck.
That's not moving at all.
That was easy. Grace, I will knock the teeth out of your mouth you talk like that ever again. It's not my little 6-year-old sister. You're 6, right, Grace? You're like 7 or something like that?
Actually, I'm 14.
So we dripped Grace out with some CZMODS beanies. You gotta model it for them.
Where'd you put them? Never mind.
I'm actually surprised how well these things, you know, held up. All it is a self-tapper through this, like, matted fender liners.
Yes.
Babe, what'd you do with my cutting pliers?
Bro, I gave them to you.
And
You left them
I
there.
don't know what I'd do if it weren't for my good memory.
Yeah, okay.
So these are the clippers I was talking to you about in the beginning of the video. So instead of using the typical wire strippers that you get that are like the crappy ones that you pinch between there and pull out or whatever, these are super convenient because you can set them in here. It's gonna grab and just pull this little wire piece off. Makes for a nice clean cut. So on these wires, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pass these over on the positive and negative, and I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do with those here in a minute. But here is this little heat shrink that you can get, which all the stuff that I'm showing you right now that I showed in the beginning, you can find it in the bio. Just go over to my Amazon, click on it, and you'll see a folder of truck stuff. And I have all the wiring, everything that I use in here, so it's a lot easier for you guys to find. But I'm gonna overlap these, connect them. And the cool thing about it is this center right here is a solar filament and heat shrink around the edges. So you can use a little lighter, a little torch, heat gun, whatever you want. And so this solder is gonna melt and fuse those together. And so that's pretty snug, pretty tight. It's doing its job. And the reason I had this is because I'm gonna slide it over here. It's gonna cover it up. We're gonna heat shrink it, and that's gonna look a lot better than what it previously looked like. All right, so here's an update. Heat gun looks and works 10 times better than the lighter. The lighter leaves the black residue, doesn't look as clean. Heat gun wins the clean wiring verdict. Just like so. Then we'll heat shrink it, and I'm gonna blend those two together, and looks a lot better. The cool thing is this crimping tool is sick because I always save these off old wiring harnesses and everything. So what we're gonna do is mount this here and crimp it down with that tool there. Pretty cool little device that makes your life a whole lot easier, especially for these. Instead of using pliers, you're gonna get a lot more of a contact point with that. Plus it's super stout and just makes life a whole lot easier. So it's pretty cool because it's got like a little ratchet deal that locks it in. All right, so we got it just hardwired in, and obviously you got to double check and make sure everything's working before you install them. And I think we're good. So fast forward a little bit, we already got the fender aligners pulled out, rock lights installed, and thrown back on the truck. So right now, Holden's over here, wiring it all up for me. He's doing it for free. I'm not gonna do anything. I'm gonna walk around and I'm gonna make noise. Yeah, Holden, I'm about done. Yeah, and I'm gonna just let him get, basically done with it. And then I'm gonna go down there and be like, oh man, you're already done? Man, I was about to help you. So that's basically the plan that we're gonna go with. But no, so we're gonna, Holden's running the wires through there. We're basically running everything out, trying to see what lengths we need, if we need to extend or shorten, because obviously if there's anything extra, because I don't want a rat's nest underneath, I'm gonna end up cutting that, splicing it to keep it obviously a lot cleaner underneath the frame. We're also gonna be testing these bad boys out, see how well or not well that they end up working. So they seem to stick pretty well to the body. I guess we'll see how they do after a month. Worst case, even if they end up falling off, obviously they have a wire at the end of it, so it's gonna catch it. So from there, we'll be able to figure out if we need stronger magnets or if these do just fine. So yeah, sorry for all you Illumina Duty boys out there, only able to use it on your frames. Chill. Yeah, so we're gonna hop into that, wire everything together, and we should soon be spaceship kit. So after about 9 good hours of wiring, so we started what, about 11 o'clock or about 12?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was about 12 o'clock when we finally got here. Between getting everything out, organizing, and figuring out what our plan was with this thing, we probably started about 1:30 or so. It is now 1 o'clock in the morning?
Mm-hmm. Almost.
So 12:30.
Yeah.
So what's the math on that?
It's like 12 hours.
12 hours? Oh, it is.
1 hour.
Yeah.
That would be 11 hours.
Only 1 hour.
1:30.
Got it done in 1 hour.
That'd be like 11
actually,
hours.
how long is this video? So like 18 minutes and 53 seconds. So yeah, it only took us about 18 minutes. So yeah, it took us probably 11-ish hours, whatever that is, to do everything. But that's cutting every single thing, fitting it, cleaning it, and making sure that it looks right. So now we're going to show you the 12 36 diode rock lights versus the live wire, never heard of brand ever on this truck. We're going to see what the difference is on them. And then after that, we're going to turn the wheel lights on and show you how absolutely insane this is. Okay, so here are the rock lights, which there is little to no shadows at all. Obviously, the axle in the rear is a bit of a given, but I think that's also because of that jack stand back there. And then over here, we have another jack, but overall, this is about the only noticeable shadow that we have underneath it. And you would think, man, that's pretty bright. That outshines those live wires. Well, This is a 12 piece and obviously quadro per wheel. So I currently have a 20 piece on my 6.0 Power Stroke and some wheel lights, and I still have some shadows. So this is less and a lot more lighting. So that just goes to show how much brighter that is versus other brands that I run on my other truck, obviously. So all of that's gonna be linked in the description if you guys wanna check that out. And so the crazy thing about all this, the single cab obviously is a 2-door long bed, and this is a 4-door. So this is a longer truck, less rock lights, and more light output through these. So that's just something to kind of think about. So we made it home, and I just wanted to show you guys a literal day and night difference of this truck versus the wheel lights and everything at night. So I'm gonna go over here, turn the lights on and everything. So here we go. These are just the rock lights. So now let's take a look at it with the wheel lights. Holy cow. Dang. Dude, that is insane. Just check it out, guys. There's literally no shadow underneath this freaking thing. I don't know. You guys, you know, let me know what you guys think. So here's exposure all the way down for anyone that thinks I'm turning it up. Here's it all the way up. And here it is in the middle where it's supposed to be. So that exposure is not being messed with at all. This is the true colors and power of CZMODS wheel lights. So, I mean, the light output, you know, goes a good ways around. It even shines, you know, I'm a good 6 feet away easily, and it still kind of goes underneath the truck. Same thing. Look how far back this is just the light is just hitting back there. Holy cow. So there's your literal day and night difference. I'm gonna go back inside, go to bed, and we'll continue this in the morning. So overall, we're super satisfied with how everything came out on the 6.7. I was very exhausted, and if it wasn't for Holden, this would have been a lot more work than what I would have been able to do in just a single day. But what I wanted to say about all of this stuff before I forget, make sure you guys check your warranties, because cutting any harnesses and everything typically leads to voiding a warranty because you're not using the factory harness, you're cutting, modifying. And if something were to short out, it could have been something due to improper installation or wiring. Now, I think we did a great job using those heat shrink with solder and then sliding another heat shrink over it, not only to make it look good, but also to make it even sturdier. And even on some of them, I even wrapped a little bit of electrical tape on both ends just to ensure that there would be no leaks or water going through them. So over here, typically this is where you would see all your wires and everything, and you can't see anything other than these two positives here and then the two negatives here. But I ran them inside, followed the factory wiring harness, came down here. One of the Bluetooth control boxes is actually tucked in on the inside of this, stuck to the metal, and then it runs down the body and it splits into 2 rock lights per wheel well. And you can see this is how we mounted them. So on these, we use the bolts that are supplied through CZMODS, took out the inner fenders, put them in, put the lock nut on the back end, reinstalled the inner fender, and then did the same things on the rear. Pulled them out, made some holes, reinstalled, and it just looks a lot cleaner. So on the wheel lights, we just followed, you know, the factory harnesses, went up through the axle and back into the other end. And if you guys have any questions, make sure to drop a comment down below and I'll answer every single one. But thank you guys. Make sure if you haven't already, like and subscribe, turn those notifications on, and we'll see you at the next one.